The Luxury Strategy by Jean-Noel Kapferer and Vincent Bastien is one of the most fascinating books I've read in my life. In this video, I want to expound on some of the key ideas and add modern examples. The book begins with a central idea. Luxury is about social distinction. The authors write, the offspring of social stratification in inegalitarian societies, luxury has become its father in democratic societies. In societies that are explicitly unequal, it is clear who has access to luxuries by virtue of their access to resources and who does not. However, in societies that are more equal, the human desire to socially stratify still persists. Luxury recreates that social stratification. There are many quotes in the book that are, by themselves, worthy of contemplation. Luxury converts the raw material that is money into a culturally sophisticated product that is social stratification. Naturally, today's victors are no longer princes or military leaders, since the war is economic. In our presumed classless society, luxury is linked to meritocracy. Luxury is located beyond quality. It is, to borrow an expression from Remy Krug, that which distinguishes the very good from the emotionally moving. The authors summarize luxury as a very qualitative hedonistic experience or product made to last, offered at a price that far exceeds what their mere functional value would command, tied to a heritage, unique know-how, and culture attached to the brand, available in purposefully restricted and controlled distribution, offered with personalized accompanying services, representing a social marker, making the owner or beneficiary feel special with a sense of privilege. The book also makes a distinction between luxury and fashion. Urban societies need both luxury and fashion. Luxury by recreating a social stratification that was done away with by democracy, and fashion by recreating the rhythm of the seasons that was done away with by urbanization and social differentiation, while avoiding being engulfed by the anonymous crowd. Success, when fashion and luxury overlap, relies on a tandem arrangement where you have a brand which covers the luxury side and a creator who covers the fashion side. If you consider Louis Vuitton menswear creative director appointments, you have this exemplified in real time. It is one of the more significant paradoxes of luxury that it must maintain both timelessness and trendiness at the same time. The young iconize luxury brands, for they epitomize consumption at its best. Luxury is a condensed version of beauty, quality, eternity, humanity, love, self-respect, impressing others, self-pampering, self-reward, power symbolism. Youth is the age of building one's identity through extended personal possessions. Note, rarity is not searched for per se, but access to a dream of exception. The parallels between luxury and religion are difficult to ignore. Structurally, like religions, most luxury brands have the following: a creator, a founding myth and legend, a holy land or place of origin, symbols, logos, numbers, signs, etc. that only the initiated know, icons or products endowed with sacred history, stores as cathedrals, communion in the form of community, sacrifices. Furthermore, luxury brands engage in ongoing myth building through evoking the original creator, who is more of an enthusiast and a creative genius than a pure engineer, constantly referencing the original creations themselves and making them inaccessible through price and distribution. As a side tangent, I think a lot of these methods have contributed to the success of Stone Island. You have Massimo Osti, a now fabled mad scientist, who gave birth in a lab to highly innovative and technical menswear garments covered in controversy, with robust archives globally, united by the badge and a few iconic garments, such as the Telestella, Liquid Reflective, and Rosso Gamato, with industrial storefronts at a premium price. To that point, throughout the book, a distinction is drawn between luxury goods and premium goods. The difference is primarily defined by the relationship between the creator and the client. Premium goods are measured by the value they provide. For cars, this may be horsepower, steering, or legroom, and the client's input is constantly recycled back into production and brand decisions. For luxury, the relationship is reversed. It is the creator who defines the criteria. Ferraris, for example, are notoriously erratic at high speeds, not that I would know. However, the automotive specs and design decisions are determined at Maranello, and clients trust what the company provides. As the authors write, luxury and premium are not differences in the level of the same quest. In reality, the quest is different. The upper premium brands desire to be chosen rationally for their excellence. Luxury draws its additional value from a sacred dimension. A reasonable price is a price that appeals to reason, and therefore comparison. To be reasonable is to also reduce the object to its tangible dimension. Luxury, in contrast, seeks to avoid comparison. It seeks to stand in a category of its own. The third chapter of the book starts to get into the practical elements of how to manage a luxury brand. First, ask yourself, does your product have enough flaws? This one is counterintuitive. While the goal of the upper premium brand is to deliver a perfect product, luxury brands are not interested in being leaders in utilitarianism. Is it clear the maker is making trade-offs, or have all the rough edges been smoothed out? Is it pursuing an objective at a cost? This is where the human element and human touch also come into play. Second, do not respond to rising demand. Traditional marketing sets its sights at achieving leadership in market share in order to have wide distribution. Luxury brands take the opposite approach. If you resist demand, you actually control it. Third, communicate to those you are not targeting. As the authors write, there should be many more people who are familiar with the brand than those who could possibly afford. A strong brand is one that has been able to create aficionados, eager and proselytizing clients. This is why culture is the biggest explanatory factor in the consumption of luxury goods. I, like many people, discovered many luxury brands by listening to rap music. Alix, Richard Mille, Jean-Paul Gaultier. Fourth, do not test. Testing means that the decisions of the luxury brand are subject to the taste of the consumers. Luxury is a taste educator. It builds the classics of tomorrow, not the hits of today, soon forgotten. Instead, have face-to-face conversations with brand lovers. And then paradoxes. For Veblen, the Norwegian economist, luxury is that which is socially most desirable, since it places you at the summit of the hierarchy. This is one of the drivers of what are known as Veblen goods, those for which demand increases as the price increases. As with rarity, the luxury market can only grow by becoming less exclusive. Exclusivity is not the premier factor in valuation, but its absence is a factor in devaluation. It harks back to the marketing of common objects. Luxury functions as a fence. It expresses and recreates hierarchical difference. Luxury brands are clubs. Fashion had no meaning when social structure was immutable. Fashion has spread as a tool of clannishness. The book continues by emphasizing the importance of being tied to a specific location, whether a real one, like Armani to Milan, or Chanel to Paris, or a fictitious one, like Ralph Lauren, who borrowed the mythology of upper-class America. There can be no luxury brand without roots, without a history to provide the brand with a non-commercial aspect. As I began making this video and seeing much of the psychological maneuvering that takes place in luxury, I began to feel conflicted. I love beauty, lore, creative expression, history, and appreciation for life. I have an awe for the transcendent. As Kapferer and Bastien put it, historically, art was essentially religious. The great and good of this world ordered works to embellish and build sacred buildings, to the glory of God. But even if art, in its modern conception, has become profane, it remains a sign of culture, of the capacity to appreciate the intangibles, and not only to possess them through the effect of accumulated wealth. While art and beauty point to something higher, they themselves are not sufficient containers to hold the weight of human meaning. Nonetheless, I think one can consume luxury in an appreciative and conscious way, because luxury is transcendent and, like us, reflects something much higher.